Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, or should I say cheating in World of Tanks, because until I saw this replay I had never really seen an example of it. How many of you have been accused of cheating in the game chat when you've pulled off an awesome shot or an awesome kill? That happens quite frequently, and quite honestly it's very satisfying that your opponents are admitting that you're playing so well that they think that the only reason why you could do so is because you're cheating. And so I all brushed it off, laughed it off, thought, nah, there's no one who actually really cheats in World of Tanks, right? Until I saw this replay, and finally I got to understand exactly what aiming assistance is in World of Tanks, or in other games called an aimbot, right? Should be called also an aimbot here, I guess. I'm hiding the player's name because I don't want this to be a witch hunt. The last thing that I really want is for that to happen. This is more of a replay to show you guys exactly what this is, and that I know a lot of you download mod packs that aren't mine. That's fine. You can use whatever mod pack you want that you think is going to be best for you, or no mod pack at all. But if you have a mod pack that uses a modification like this, then you're kind of risking that you're going to be banned, because mods like this are not legal. Now, what am I going to be talking about? Well, the key feature of this modification and why it's illegal is because it uses the auto-aim system, which is completely normal in World of Tanks. What? QuickyBaby, you're telling me that if I right-click my mouse button that I'm cheating? No, not at all. But what this modification does is it combines the auto-aim system with World of Tanks with the server-side reticle to also predict movements of your opponents. Now, when you're auto-aiming in World of Tanks, it's just fixed directly at the target. And so that makes it quite effective in short range when you have more than enough penetration to go through the tank. It can be very handy as well when you need to focus on your movements. Now, what this modification does is it basically adjusts for the movement of the opponent. So if they're driving very fast in one direction, it will auto-aim slightly in front of the target. So i.e. what it does is it gives lead. And so what that means is that players who use these modifications don't even really have to auto-aim onto the target as well. Now, I know there are some, I think, legal modifications out there which enable you to auto-aim at a target without specifically right-clicking on them, which can be quite a tricky aspect. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about are modifications which automatically auto-aim at targets for you and then also give lead. Now, we're not seeing an example of that here. This could just be the player auto-aiming normally, and somehow there's some kind of bug in the system that the game isn't giving us that audio notification as to when he's auto-aiming onto a tank. But wait, later on you're going to hear some of the auto-aims, I believe, and so then it starts to get a little bit fishy. I'm just going to fast forward through this little bit because nothing happens, and this isn't about the gameplay. Now, that's another really sad thing about this, is that the player goes on to have a result that frankly would be utterly amazing and incredible and worthy of a replay highlight on this channel, but he's getting the attention for all the wrong reasons, and he's not even getting any attention at all because I'm not going to reveal what the player's name is, and I've made the replay private as well and deleted it, so I don't think there's a way that you guys are going to be able to find out. And trust me, don't go looking. This isn't about it being a witch hunt. This is about showing you guys what cheating in World of Tanks looks like. And honestly, I had never seen it before, and I didn't even think it was possible. I thought that, like, oh, you're just joking, saying someone's cheating and whatnot. And I didn't think that it would actually be beneficial either to the player. And just wait until we see what happens here. Now, what I'm going to do is just completely leave it. So this is how the player played this game. I'm not going to be moving around, you know, when you left click and then you can decide where to look. I'm going to leave it so we can show exactly what the player is aiming at, so you can get an idea of where the auto-aim assistance is coming into effect, i.e. the aimbot, I presume. So his team haven't done very well, but then again, he has not really done too much up on top of the hill. He's picked up a couple of kills, but when you are a top-tier tank destroyer like the Marder 38T in these tier 4 games, you can be fairly dominant. So the player could have auto-aimed that using an auto-aim assistance one, i.e. one that you don't have to click directly on the tank. One thing that's interesting though is that we don't get the voice notification when he auto-aims. So look at this. This is the dodgy bit. Look how it's giving lead to that tank that he's able to hit. Now it's giving lead to the tank as he's going through the dirt. So unless this is some kind of absolute micro boss who can somehow... Now, that's actually impossible, isn't it? There's no way, while he's looking straight ahead, that he could possibly be giving lead to the target like that in third person, unless he locked his tracks. Now, this is very interesting. While the aiming reticle thinks that he's still aiming over here, it's actually giving lead at tanks over here and bouncing off them, which is a bit bizarre. Now it auto-aims onto the A20, and this is where things start to get really ugly, at least for the enemy team. We can see that it's giving a slight little bit of lead on the A20, and one thing that you'll notice as well is that the auto-aim is very spiky, and that's because what this aimbot does is it uses the server reticule in conjunction with making calculations about where the tanks are moving to be able to auto-aim. And so that means vehicles such as this, like the Marder 38T, and let's just clarify, he's in a 1 versus 10 situation here. Finishing off that vehicle, moving on to have a go at the A20, automatically just aiming at whatever needs shooting. Now, of course, this probably wouldn't be helping him too much if we were in a high-tier game here. How good would it be to be auto-aiming at the side of an IS-7 from this angle, as an example? It wouldn't help you at all. But for when you're playing low tiers like this, the fact that this aimbot is aiming at the perfect place on the enemy tank. See, there was him disengaging the auto-aim, so he actually used the auto-aim himself there. So that adds even more weight to what the aimbot is doing here. So he sometimes uses aimbot himself, like this. That means, okay, we have them. So that was him using his auto-aiming game by right-clicking on the target. That's fine. So all of the other previous cases where he wasn't in close quarters combat, he was using the aimbot, but what he's doing here, he could have just right-clicked on the target, even though he's using the modification that allows you to auto-aim at a target without specifically clicking on them. So this could be done legitimately. The bit that was really dodgy was previously where his auto-aim was giving lead to the target that was moving, and that's just not possible. So anyway, he's picked up 11 kills here. He's turned a 1 versus 10 into a 1 versus 3, make that a 1 versus 2. Now this is the part where I would be saying, oh, how well Dave is doing here. Look how he's done. He's been able to deal with the targets in front of him. He's dealt with the targets coming down from the hill. He is a one-man army. But I think the only real thing that's allowing Dave to be able to win this game, unfortunately, even though he seems like he's a fairly knowledgeable player, is the aiming assistance that he has been granted by this cheating modification that he's using. So he goes over the ridgeline. He's going to spot the Stuart in the bush. Sorry for the spoilers. Shuts him down. Notice how he didn't auto-aim at the target there. And do you see how without him even auto-aiming, and he even misses that shot. That's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? Even with the auto-aim. Gosh, can't manage to kill a stationary Stuart. So did you notice that we didn't get any notification that he actually auto-aimed onto the target there? And that's because, oh, he spots the artillery, and you see how he doesn't auto-aim on the target? He's not aiming in first person. This is actually what he's looking at, and the aiming modification is giving lead to the enemy artillery as it whizzes away. Tries to chase it down. He's unable to do so. So sorry, I had to make a cut there because I accidentally revealed the player's name, and I don't want to do that. So what really upsets me about these modifications, that obviously it's unfair on the enemy team, right? They would have probably been able to win this game if this player hadn't been cheating. I don't see many people get through 1 versus 10s and be contesting 14 kills in this kind of a situation. Now, he would have probably done very well in this replay, but I truly think that without the auto-aiming assistance, he probably wouldn't have been able to micro all of those kills as quickly as he did. And that's a shame, because all of his achievement is going to be for nothing, right? This isn't a replay where I'm saying, let's take a look at this guy's awesome replay and celebrate his fantastic performance. It's let's look at the cheats he's using as an example to see how to be a scumbag in World of Tanks, right? So there are other reasons why I don't like this, and that's because if there are truly unfair advantage modifications like this that come out, then Wargaming might just blanket ban all modifications. And I don't know about you, but I quite like the damage log at the bottom. I like knowing what kind of shell hit me, because I think that is really beneficial for knowing if the armor failed because I maybe got a little unlucky and they got a high penetration roll. Or alternatively, if they're firing APCR rounds at me, or if they're firing heat and I didn't hear it, and then I know that maybe I'm not using my armor effectively. Or that we might see that you can no longer use the damage log in the top left-hand corner, which can be very nice to see if you're getting close to that ace tank, or if alternatively you're trying to hunt down some of those marks of excellence on your vehicles, or just hit general damage goals. So there might be a blanket ban on all modifications. But what annoys me more is that if modifications like this become more and more popular, or at least the community becomes more aware of them, which I understand is a bit moronic that I'm making this video on it, but I really felt it necessary, and the community becomes more aware of these, and they might start accusing players more and more of using such modifications, which just is just general negativity, right? So I really don't look forward to that. And remember that because there's an automatic banning system in World of Tanks with reports, and that's not good either. Because what happens if the enemy team encourages their team to ban you, as an example? He didn't even auto-aim at the target. He wasn't even looking at him. The aimbot aimed at him for him, and then finishes the tank off, securing his 14th kill in this horrible, dubious, scumbag cheatery of a game. Now, there's one thing about this situation that makes me really sad, and that is that I don't think the player even realizes that the modification that he was using is cheating in World of Tanks and is also a bannable offense. I genuinely think that he innocently used this modification thinking it was along the same lines of XBM, and that World of Tanks allows XBM, right? That's perfectly legitimate to use an aimbot in World of Tanks. And the reason for that is that the message that he sent with this is that he presented it as an awesome Rosanai Heroes Medal replay like I just featured the other day on this channel. And I expect the player doesn't even realize that if somebody sent this replay into Wargaming, that it's likely that his account would be banned and all his progress locked forever. And that's another reason why I'm making this video, that if any of you are in this player's situation and using an aimbot and you didn't know better, do yourself a favor and go delete your ResMods folder as quickly as possible, or you're risking your account forever. So just before we take a look at the post-game stats, let's check out the really dubious part of this replay once again. Okay, so now for the real dodgy part of the replay, I'm going to slow it down to quarter speed. So while the player is looking directly ahead, we can see that it looks like he's auto-aimed at the target without a notification, and it's giving lead. This is the part that is dodgy. I'm just going to take control of the camera now. We can see that the auto-aim is giving lead to the target. That is impossible in World of Tanks without using an aimbot. And that is the problem here. What that basically does is it enables players that don't have the skill to be able to lead a target, which is often quite real tricky shots to pull off, that even the best of players will miss maybe half the time. But the aimbot compensates for his lack of skill and aims for him, giving him an obvious advantage. So the player secured 14 kills this game, giving him the hardest medal to get in World of Tanks, the Rosanai Heroes medal. He also got a Nadin's medal, a high caliber, and the one that everyone wants, the Kolobanov's medal, for standing alone against at least 5 opponents, in this case 10. Now, I brought up a lot in this replay. I really want to just summarize some of the key points. 1, this modification is illegal. I have confirmed, at least with Wargaming EU, that if you use this, you are risking your account being banned. Secondly, because Wargaming's modification policy is not exactly crystal clear, I think there are many players, such as we've seen in this replay, that are using these modifications thinking they're completely legitimate, and then probably surprised if they get themselves banned. Thirdly, modifications like this do give you a definite advantage, and this effectively demeans the effort that you lovely ladies and gentlemen are putting into the game. I get so many messages from players saying, oh, thanks to your videos, I've managed to practice better, and my win percentage has gone up. Well, what's the point in practicing, learning shell velocities, and playing thousands of games learning how to lead targets if you can just download a modification that's going to do it for you? Which brings me on to my final point. Look, nobody really wants cheating in World of Tanks. I hate it when I'm constantly seeing, oh, cheating this, cheating that in the chat. It's so boring and detracts from the overall awesome experience that you get. And so I hope that Wargaming take a harsh stance on players that use these kind of modifications and develop their detection systems to track down cheaters and take them out of the World of Tanks community, while at the same time educate the players about what is right and what is wrong, which was really one of the key goals to this video. Now, if you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a like down below. It really helps the channel out. And boy, am I expecting there to be some interesting comments for me to read tonight. And also, just a heads up, tomorrow is April Fool's Day, but no joke, I'm going to be releasing loads of videos over this weekend, so stay tuned to the channel. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.